Hi, and thanks for joining me for this 30-minute yoga practice. I'm Andrea. It's always great to have you here. I am standing on a yoga mat, but fear not if you don't have one. Find a place in your house that's not too slippery, maybe not too hard, so perhaps a carpeted area or a rug. That can be your yoga mat today. I also have a folded towel. I'm guessing you might have one of those around. And a couple of blocks, and if you don't have those, maybe you've got some thick books that could do the job instead. I also like to have a chair around. For some practices, we use the chair quite a bit. I just like to have it in general in case I'm feeling a little wobbly that day, or it can be of assistance somehow. Once you have those in place, we'll start, as we often do, with our feet hip distance, standing in our mountain. Turn your palms away from one another, uplift through your heart. Have a soft bend in your knees. And either gaze at what I like to call our bright horizon, or close your eyes if you're comfortable with that. But we'll take a moment to turn the arrows of attention inward as opposed to distractedly outward. And you can focus on your breath here. Let it rise and fall. And if you can, breathe just through your nose. If that's not happening, it's not that you're doing anything wrong. Mostly I just want you to breathe. Last few moments, exactly as we are, stopping so that we can start. We'll move just our arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky, V shape, and then lower your arms along your side, palms turn out. What if we inhale our arms up, thumbs to the sky, V shape, and exhale, float our arms alongside us? Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, arms out and up, thumbs to the sky, V shape, and then exhale, arms along your side, palms face out. Once more with a little feeling, inhale, thumbs to the sky, V shape, and then exhale, arms along your side. We'll add on thumbs to the sky, V shape, a chair pose, so sit back and down. Still the thumbs to the sky, and then we straighten our legs, float our arms along our sides, palms face out. We'll coordinate the breath. Inhaling into chair, V shape, thumbs to the sky. Exhale, stand, arms along your side, palms face out. One more time, thumbs to the sky, V shape as we sit. And then exhale and float your arms along your side. And let's find ears over shoulders, over hips, over heels as we stand. Beautiful posture here in our mountain pose that we can walk off of our mat and into our lives. We'll add on to our chair. Inhale, thumbs to the sky, V shape, chair pose. This time, exhale, stand on your left leg and bring your right knee towards your chest. Stamp your right foot down, hip distance, chair pose, thumbs to the sky, a V shape. And now stand onto your right foot and bring your left knee into your chest. Chair pose, thumbs to the sky, V shape. Stand on your left leg, right knee to your chest. That might be your exhale. Inhale to chair pose, V shape. Exhale, left knee towards your chest. Let's go back and forth a few times. And if your tempo is a little different than mine, honor it, celebrate it. Chair pose. Left knee to your chest unless you're on the other side or going at a different tempo. And we'll go back and forth a few more times here. Great way to build a little bit of heat in our bodies, a little bit of awareness to our breath, and we're digging into that mind-body connection. Let's take just a few more back and forths here. Feeling a little warmer? I sure am. We'll do one more round and then I'm going to meet you in chair pose. And we'll pause and chair for a moment after what's called dynamic movement, so quite a bit of movement. Now we have a little bit of a static hold. It's a bit of a contrast, like our inhales and our exhales, or like strength and flexibility. But those things that seem like opposites are actually complementary opposition. 3 moments here. If it's too long, you can always straighten your legs and float your arms alongside your body before I do. And then let's stand it up, palms face out. Soft bend remains in our knees, ears over shoulders, over hips, over heels. Gazing at our bright horizon. We'll need a few props for our next move. I'm going to arrange my blocks, and I'll show you, because mindfulness in the placement of our props is very important. Just like mindfulness in our movement on our mat, our movement of props around our mat is important. So take your 2 blocks or books or whatever you're using and situate them just off the sides of your mat, because we never want them underfoot. The other option, and I will show you because I actually love this option, is your chair with the seat facing you at that short edge of your mat, or whatever it is that you're using as your mat. And then we will face the chair or stand in between, although not, underfoot, with our blocks on either side. Find that beautiful elegance of your mountain. I like feet hip distance, but you can always be a little closer or wider. It's not an exact science. And now let's take our chair pose facing this direction, V-shape, inhale. Exhale, hinge at your hips and take your hands onto your thighs. Traction onto your thighs and let an inhale extend your heart towards the chair in front of you or the world in front of you. We never want our head lower than our hips, so that's something to note. Exhale, a little bit more of a fold in, but like I said, not lower than hips. And then arms to the sky, V-shape as we stand. Float your arms along your side. Let's try just that one more time. Chair pose, V-shape, inhale. Exhale, hinge at your hips, hands to your thighs. Traction onto your thighs to create more length in your spine as we inhale. Increase the hinge at your hips as we exhale. And then chair pose, thumbs to the sky as an inhale, and we exhale and stand in our mountain. Inhale, chair pose, we'll add on here. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands on your thighs. Inhale your heart forward. Now either hands to that seat of your chair or hands onto your 2 blocks, but again, keep your head high, and I kind of mean that in every way. Step your left foot back and land on the ball of that back foot, and it can be helpful to heel toe your right foot to the right a little bit so you have some sideways space here. Stamp into your right heel, and you can actually feel that turn on a contraction in the back of your right leg, which we like. And you're steering a little bit your right hip back and your left hip forward. Remember when we had our hands on our thighs and we tractioned length into our spine? Can you find that here with your hands on your blocks or on the seat of your chair? And imagine that you're standing tall in your mountain, even here, in a lunge. 2 moments where we are. We'll want to firm through our bellies, so we step left foot hip distance from right, hands to thighs, inhale your heart forward. Exhale, increase the hinge at your hips. Chair pose, thumbs to the sky, and then exhale to stand and let that first side digest. Chair pose, inhale, thumbs to the sky, V-shape. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs. Inhale, extend your heart forward, and then either hands to the seat of your chair or hands on your blocks. Now it's your right foot that will step back. And we'll pause on the ball of that back foot and build it from the ground up as you stamp into your left heel and steer your left hip back and your right hip forward. And you remember that there's traction in its way with your hands on your blocks or on the seat of your chair, but it's extension through our spine that we want to find. Like standing tall in our mountain, but here, in the shape of a lunge. A few moments here, I'll be quiet so you can feel a meditation in this shape. Right foot hip distance from left, Hands to your thighs, inhale, get long through your spine, and exhale, hinge at your hips. Chair pose, thumbs to the sky, and then exhale and stand. Palms face out, heart lifted. Bright horizon in sight. Adding on to our little sequence here, chair pose, inhale. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs. Inhale, extend your heart, hands to the seat of your chair or hands onto your blocks. Step your left foot back, so far, pretty similar to what we did before. If that sideways space that I mentioned is helpful for balance, we're going to go upright in this pose in a moment, so that might be something that you want to find before we come upright. Firm through your belly. I like to bend a little bit in my back knee and come upright, thumbs to the sky, arms out to the side. And then I steer right hip back and left hip forward. And I work towards straightening the back leg a little bit, but if it's pitching me forward because of tightness, there's just no point in doing that. It might even be thumbs to the sky, a V shape with your arms overhead, whatever feels good or more balanced. Again, I'll just give you a few moments of silence to meditate here. Now return your hands to either the seat of your chair or to your blocks and step left foot hip distance from right, hands onto your thighs. Inhale, heart reaches, and exhale, hinge at your hips. Chair pose is our inhale, V shape, and then stand, palms face out. Second side, chair pose, inhale. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands onto your thighs. Inhale your heart forward and hands to your chair or hands onto your blocks. Your right foot steps back this time. And you just see, maybe it's handy to have a little bit more sideways space. You're the expert, I'm the guide. With your belly firm and perhaps you add that bend to your back knee like I like to do, we come upright. It's like our mountain pose has been invited to our lunge party. Arms out to the side to start, and maybe they stay here. Perhaps you begin to straighten that back leg a little bit, but if you're bumping up against tightness that pitches you forward, just keep that bend in your back knee. There's nothing wrong with it. It could be a V shape here too. And then a few moments of silence to meditate in yet another shape. And then return your hands to your blocks or to the seat of your chair and step your right foot hip distance or whatever it is that you're enjoying from your left. Hands to thighs, inhale, heart forward, and exhale, hinge at your hips. Chair pose, thumbs to the sky, and then stand into the majesty of your mountain. Adding on again, chair pose, inhale. Exhale, fold, hinge at your hips, hands on your thighs. Inhale, your heart forward. Bring your hands to the seat of your chair or onto your blocks. Step your left foot back. We're in our crescent shape. We'll come upright, thumbs to the sky. Now, we're just going to turn this into a warrior two, so you'll drop your back heel and reach your arms in opposite directions. So your right hand forward and your left hand, back. Now you do want your left foot, your back foot at a 45-degree angle. We'll pause here. No need to wear our shoulders as earrings, so you can let that feel like a very wide wingspan. And your right thigh is moving to the right as opposed to collapsing to the left. You're allowed to take a look at your own body even. 2 more moments where we are. Now all we do is roll onto the ball of our back foot, arms out to the side. We're back into this lunge shape. And then return your hands onto your blocks. And for a brief moment, and keeping your head above your hips, straighten your front leg as a little release. Doesn't that feel good? Keep the length in your spine. If you like, you could dig your right heel in and curl your toes back towards you. 2 moments here. Flatten out your right foot if you dug the heel in. Bend your knee. Step your left foot hip distance or whatever you're enjoying to your right. Hands on your thighs. Inhale, heart lifts, and exhale, hinge at your hips. Chair pose. V shape, stand, palms face out. Ready? Second side, chair pose, inhale. Exhale, hinge at your hips and hands to your thighs. Inhale your heart forward, your hands will come to your chair or onto your blocks, and now it's our right foot that steps back. For the time being, we're on the ball of the back foot, so the movement of our feet is kind of important in this sweet little sequence that we're up to. Come upright, arms out to the side, thumbs to the sky. Now this can be a little bit of a balancing act, I find, too, this transition. So back foot flat. We turn so that our left arm is reaching forward and our right arm is reaching back. Cheat your right heel at a 45-degree angle, that's your back leg. Stamp into your left heel, that's your front leg. And convince your left thigh bone to go to the left as opposed to feel like it wants to collapse to the right. Not even on this side are we wearing our shoulders as earrings. And you can feel like you're standing in your mountain from the waist up. 3 moments where we are. If your arms are tired, lower them for a moment and then bring them back up anytime. Mindfully, just like when we moved our props, we move our bodies with mindfulness. Spin onto your back toes and let your chest start to face the front edge of your mat. Then bring your hands to your chair or to your blocks. And this is where we take a moment to straighten the front leg. Remember that your head stays high, higher than your hips. Little hamstring stretch feels pretty good after all that. You could dig your left heel in and curl your left toes back towards you if you enjoy that. And then let me give you some silence to meditate here. Now we'll rebend our left knee and step right foot hip distance from left. Hands to thighs. Inhale, get length in your spine. Exhale, hinge at your hips. Chair pose, V shape. Stand, float your arms along your side and pause. Let that digest for a moment. If you're comfortable, you can even close your eyes. Moving on, chair pose, inhale, thumbs to the sky, and then exhale, hinge at your hips and bring your hands to your thighs. Inhale, heart forward, hands to your chair or to your blocks. This time, as you step your left foot back, lower your back knee, which might be when you reach for that folded towel that you have, and you can put that underneath your left knee if that feels a little bit better to you. Take both of your blocks or books or whatever you've got going on. On the inside of your right foot, you can also use the seat of your chair for this. Heel toe your right foot a little to the right, and let's have what's called humble warrior. So you can walk your hands out. We're still looking for a nice long chest or a nice long spine and uplift to our chest. Perhaps your hands stay on your blocks. There might be a couple of us who come onto our forearms on our blocks, but the length in your spine is what I'm interested in. So desperately rounding to get your elbows down is a fight you don't need to take on. We'll let this steep for a few moments. It's a pretty good stretch, don't you think? See if you can stay with your breath, and maybe you even lace it with a little bit of what's called a mantra, like a repeating intention. You could just silently tell yourself, let as you inhale, go as you exhale. And see if maybe you can do that, let go a little bit. Come up onto your hands and take your 2 books or blocks on either side of this right foot. You can still be using the seat of your chair, no problem. Remember at the end of our standing sequence that we just did, we maybe dug the heel in and straightened our leg. We're going to do something like that here, but on our knee. If you need padding underneath that left knee, this is a great time to find it. And then it's a hinge at our hip, so it's not that we're rounding over our leg. It's a hip hinge, and you can feel the stretch on the back of your leg. So it's really a sensation-driven practice. It's not trying to get your face close to your leg. And I know sometimes that's a little hard to negotiate with our egos. It is for me anyway. So let it be a hip hinge. Allow it to inspire that stretch in the back of your right leg. And when you get just enough feeling that it's interesting, that's where you pause and maybe you once again use let on your inhale and go on your exhale. Now start to rebend your right knee. Put that right foot on the ground. You have your blocks situated on either side of your right foot, or your hands are on the base of your chair. Lift your back leg off of your mat. Step left foot, hip distance from right, hands to thighs, inhale heart forward, and exhale hinge at your hips. Chair pose, thumbs to the sky, and then we'll stand and float your arms alongside you. Chair pose. Hands to thighs. Inhale, heart forward. Hands to your chair or to your blocks. And now it is your right foot that steps back and your knee lowers. First, it's our humble warrior. I like to heel toe my left foot to the left, so maybe you do that. And then stack your blocks or have your hands on the seat of your chair. And then just see where it makes sense. You're looking to have a vertical line from your left knee to your left ankle. So if you're really far forward there, that's loading your knee in a way that I prefer not. And you're not even going to get quite the same sensations if you've got that going on. If it happens that you come onto your forearms, my reminder is length through your spine is what we're after. You don't ever have to get your forearms on your blocks for this to be the perfect pose for you. Last few moments here. This becomes our straight-legged pose in a moment, so come up onto your hands if that applies. Take your blocks to either side of that left foot. You can always use the seat of your chair instead. And it can be a combo platter of using your blocks for some things and your chair for others. Straighten your left leg and curl those toes back like you may have been up to in our standing version of this, or our knee off the ground version of it. It's a hip hinge, right? And we're keeping our mountain pose from the waist up. And then you find where the porridge is just right. There's just enough sensation that it's interesting. And then we meditate in this new shape. Life changes shape all the time, doesn't it? And we change shapes on our mat. Find mindfulness and grace so that we can stir that in to when life changes shape. Last 3 moments here. We'll stay low to the ground, so keep your hands on your blocks or your chair seat, and we'll take our left knee next to our right, so it's almost like hands and knees in its way. I'm going to show you how to set up for a single pigeon, which can be a sticky pose for a lot of us. So if you know that your knee doesn't enjoy this, or you discover that it doesn't, lie on your back, cross ankle on top of thigh, and thread the needle for a reclining pigeon, which I'll show you in a moment as well. So for single pigeon, you'll step your right foot forward. I like to use a block. You could use a couple of them. You can even use a bolster or a pillow. And I sit my right hip down onto my block, and then I just curl left toes under, back toes under, and I walk that back leg a little bit and try a little at a time, and this is a gradual process, to roll my left hip down. Now, this is not something that is designed to hurt your right knee. So if that's where you're feeling it, like I said, do this one instead, lying on your back and crossing your right ankle on top of your left thigh, and either staying like this or threading the needle, reaching through the space and hugging that towards you. So again, you are the expert and I am the guide. We'll stay in either pigeon pose, reclining or upright in your single pigeon for just a few moments. Think of it as an experiment. If you're coming out of single pigeon, bend your back knee. I like to have my block so I can kind of lean onto it, carefully bring myself off the other block, come to hands and knees, and then you will walk your left foot forward. All the while you're paying attention and using probably your block, maybe a bolster or a pillow underneath your left hip that you'll sit on, and then you'll start to curl your back toes under and see if you can extend that leg back behind you, and you will hit a sticky spot. If you're doing reclining pigeon, you'll now put your left ankle across your right thigh. This is like that back leg in our crescent lunge that was a little bit tight. We'll stay a couple moments on this side. Another opportunity to meditate. Now remember, bend your back knee if you're in this single pigeon. Maybe use your block so you have a little bit of an assist as we come off the seat of our left hip on that block. And then mindfully props off to the side, and we'll lie down on our back and bring ourselves into our Shavasana final meditation. Now if you prefer, sit cross-legged in meditation to end our practice. But a minute of silence. You can close your eyes. Just think of this as our rest and digest. Welcome to stay here in your Shavasana final meditation as long as you'd like. If you're ready, wiggle your fingers and toes, reach your arms and legs away from each other. Knees into your chest, roll to either side. Come up and join our friends who are in a comfortable seat meditating. And then fold a prayer in front of your heart. Pause a moment, just like we did at the very beginning. Notice how you feel after our practice together versus how you may have felt before. I'm Andrea. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I look forward to us doing it again together soon.